watch Kingdom?
Yes.
I mean, one of the early episodes of Kingdom, saying a dirty, filthy old father who lives with 13 dogs in his house and they try to evict him. I rather enjoyed that. And I even attempted an awful accent, which they say I got away with. So watch out for that. I think it's episode 3 or 4.
So let's watch out for it.
So I better tell you.
Any more questions out there? A couple down the front.
Earlier on you mentioned that you played the character in Heroes of Sire. You also said you liked Dexter, both of them are serial killers.
Yeah.
Putting that aside, is there something in particular, as someone who's played both heroes and villains, is there something particular about villains that often makes them a much more compelling character than the hero?
Oh, of course. In fact, the opening series that bucks the trend is Doctor Who, really. Usually the hero is the tedious character. You know, think of series like Dallas. Who's the most interesting character in Dallas? J.R. You know, Bobby was all right, but you know, he was a nice guy. But you remember the villain, you know, Peter Pan. It's Captain Hook. Captain Hook's the man. Certain kinds of villainy are fascinating. Even Silence of the Lambs. You're fascinated by that character's name escapes me. And villains are often better written. You know, because they're more complex characters usually. You know, because nobody in real life sees themselves as the villain in their lives. They justify their behaviour to themselves in various ways. It's much more interesting to explore that than someone who's just nice. You know. Sci-fi would be the exception because you can get into heroic mold there, to the land of heroes of Hercules and Robin Hood and all that sort of stuff, when the goodies become interesting again. But in more naturalistic drama, it's tougher to do that. So I like Silent because he's interesting. I think he's a very good actor too. I mean, he's got a brilliant face. He's in the new Star Trek movie, isn't he? Playing Spock. It'd be interesting to see that. I'd like to see how he... Anybody seen that? Because I've been told it's rather good. Is it not out yet?
Credits on it.
Right. I spoke to somebody who saw it and was very impressed by it.
We've got time for a couple more questions.
Hello, Colin.
Hello.
When Bayban in the Blake 7 episode was sitting at the edge of the world, would you say it would be fairer to describe Bayban as a space pirate rather than a freedom fighter like Blake was? Or how would you interpret it if you counted Bayban himself?
Bayban was a nutter. No, I don't think it was a freedom. Well, I don't think it was a freedom for himself. Bayban was the classic scenery-eating villain. Whereas, you know, Blake was or wasn't a freedom fighter according to your take on Blake. I mean, I've never done an in-depth study of Blake 7 and its kind of where it fits in the freedom fighting area. But you know, Bayban was just a nutter who wanted to trample everybody else under his feet and was really hacked off because the rest of the universe saw Blake as more threatening than he was, and he wanted to be the most hated man in the universe. I think it was wonderful. I mean, it was a character that, you know, you can imagine Brian Blessed playing, but I got there first. Understated and subtle.
Just like Paul.
Just like Paul down. Now, there's two words you don't want to in the same sentence, aren't they? Paul's all right on its own.
Thank you. We've got time one more at the back, very quickly. Make it run today.
What is your ritual for greeting people at the stage door after a show? God bless you, I've never seen Peter Davison run so fast away from the stage door as he did after Monty Python one night.
My ritual, I leave by another exit. No, people are mad enough to stand out in the freezing cold in order to tell me how it's rubbish and play. That does happen sometimes. People stand out and do enjoy that. Well, thanks for coming and sharing. Usually it's people who turn up for an autograph. I do tend to say, what did you think of the play? To find out whether they just turned up outside to get the autograph or whether they genuinely come to see the play. Which is why I think David Tennant at Stratford was instructed only to sign programmes, because at least that meant that you wouldn't get hundreds and And there would be hundreds of people who obviously couldn't get tickets because it was sold out, standing outside and stopping and going off for a well-earned drink after 3 hours of playing Hamlet. Yeah, I'm usually pretty good, unless people take the mick. It does happen occasionally. You can sort of tell when people are getting autographs to sell on eBay, and I'm not very warm towards that. So if people say don't dedicate it, I like to know why. And sometimes it's acceptable, you know, if your personal collection, you learn to tell quite quickly. But I don't see why I should be providing an income for people on eBay. Mind you, I suspect about 30 years from now, the photographs of Colin Bayban that will be treasured are the ones I haven't signed, because there are very, very few of them. So keep those unsigned photos. They might be worth a bob or two when I'm gone.
Okay, I'm afraid I'm
On that happy note.